best picking technique on the planet? Well, it kind of depends, right? You know, it's like with cars. Do you want a car that you can take your whole family on a vacation in? Then you don't want a Ferrari. But somebody could claim that Ferraris are the best cars in the world, right? So it depends on what you want to do. Alternate picking is extremely good at producing this, like I just did, this kind of machine gun-like, because it's even, right? It's a complete up and down movement that doesn't deviate at any point. When it comes to economy picking or directional picking, which is also alternate picking, by the way, because every time you're on one string with the economy picking, you're basically doing alternate picking, right? So this is economy picking, right? Until I go from string to string, instead of going, you know, just always up and down. If I did a downstroke, then I'm doing an upstroke next, right? That's alternate picking. Economy picking is that if I just did an upstroke on the E string, then I might as well, you know, cross over, play the next string with an upstroke as well, right? So I could go up, down, up, down. So it's a little sweep from string to string. And somebody say, oh, that's cheating. Well, that's only because alternate picking is harder. And when I say harder, I just mean you know, you need more repetitions of alternate picking. And the string shifting in alternate picking is by far the most cumbersome, complex way of going from string to string that we have. Everything else requires less precision and is more effective, right? But we always put a higher value on something that is harder to attain than something else, right? So if I just give you $100 million, then you're not going to appreciate them as much than if it took you 40 years to create those $100 million. It makes sense, right? So that's why alternate, and then we say it's cheating. Like I heard Ali Meola once say, you play everything with alternate picking. It's the only way. And I adapted to that, and I used alternate picking for 10 years until I realized that, hey, directional picking can do something else for you. And what it can do is that it gives a more flowing sound because you break up that, right? And so you get to... Right, so it's a more... Because you kind of, the body can't, you know, or the ear can't hear that kind of machine gun-like sound anymore. So that's really... But the downside of economy picking or directional picking is that you have to have things that you can play where you are allowed to make that sweep. So if I'm on the top string, for instance, I can't get to the B string if my last stroke on that string is a downstroke. Because then I have to turn around and do an upstroke to get to the B string, right? But that's alternate picking. So you have to have an uneven or odd amount of notes on each string. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. In order for you to be able to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And if I turn my scale around and I get to the lowest note and I have 3 notes per string, and I just keep alternate picking on one string, then I end up with an upstroke when I really want to go down to the next string. So I have to use alternate picking to get back again, right? And so that is also why I didn't choose to learn that first, the directional picking, because how limited is that? You know, I just want to play, right? I don't want to think about, no, we can't do it that way, man, because you know, I have to have an uneven, so I have to put that note there instead. I have to have only one note. So that doesn't really work for you. And also, but what does work is if you mix it with alternate, if you can do both, right? Alternate picking can be a biatch when you're trying to do a lot of string shifting all the time, like this little nightmare lick. Because not only do you have a string shift, you also have to go back to the previous string again, right? So it's a double string shift. It's shifting and then shifting back again, which is the hardest thing about alternate picking. But if you go to economy picking or directional picking, you can't even do that, right? You can't go, because it's just gonna end up, even if I go down, up, down, then I have to go back with an upstroke, and then I have to go down, up, and then I end up with alternate picking, no matter how I choose to do it, right? So what I can do, though, is when I'm playing 4 notes up and down with economy picking, I can stay on one string. So I can slide up and down instead. Right? So that's the solution to that, but it's a compromise again. And that's why alternate picking is kind of such a basic technique, right? Because you just go up and down and you can do anything with it. You can't, there's some things you cannot play as fast. The farther away the notes are, the more you know, sweep picking gets really relevant, because if you want to play an arpeggio like, right, with constant string shifting, alternate picking, it's going to be much easier to just go, right, one movement, right? So my point is this, that the ultimate picking technique is all of these picking techniques. And so most people go, say, oh, well, that's way too much, man. I wanted to choose one so I could really become good at that. But, you know, basically all players, inclusive Al Di Meola, uses sweep picking sometimes and alternate picking for single string things, right? And if you're playing an electric, you're using hammer-ons and pull-offs as well. So, and at some point when you learn all of these techniques, they melt together, and you don't even think about what you're doing, because you're just using the technique that serves you the best. And then to the argument to say, okay, hammer-ons and pull-offs, legato, we haven't talked about that, but picking techniques, right? Alternate picking, economy picking, sweep picking. I have to learn all these things. It takes me forever. But what we don't see is that, let's say you practiced alternate picking intensely for 3 months, right? Then you stop that, and then you practice economy picking or directional picking, and then you practice sweep picking. When you return to alternate picking, you will have become better. They help each other. You know, legato makes alternate picking much easier because you have an alternative. The same thing goes for economy picking. And when you have an alternative to shifting strings with alternate picking, then suddenly you ease up. It's just incredible what happens. When I started learning directional picking or economy picking, then suddenly my alternate picking skills became much better, right? Because there was an alternative to doing the hard and I didn't have to do as many alternate picking string shifts, which made what I did better. It's just, you know, so really learn them all, but make sure you practice one after the other for an extended period of time so you don't mix them up. With that said, leave a comment with your own, you know, thoughts about this and your own experience with these picking techniques, if you have some advice for other people who watch this video. And then hit the bell icon, hit the like button if you like this video, and download the free course below this video. And I hope to see you in one of the videos that pop up on the screen here.